Hey everybody, it's Strict9 with Strict9 GP, and welcome back to another episode of my Draft Day Sports College Basketball 2021 playthrough. I'm into Season 5 with this Middle Tennessee Blue Raiders team. Just finished the non-conference schedule last episode. Like I've usually been doing with this, I'm going to go through the first 9 games of the conference schedule and then finish them up in the next episode. Seems like that's working fine, hopefully. I don't like to get the episodes to go too long, and maybe that's kind of the sweet spot for now. But I'm hoping that we're going to keep the momentum. If you got a chance to look at last episode, I was thinking about it afterwards. I'm like, man, I really kind of sounded down about how it turned out, and I don't know why now. For this season, with the run that we've had, just to fill you in if you might be new to the channel or the playthroughs here, we've built on our progress year to year, basically. 10 wins last year, 14, or 10 wins my first year, then 14, 27, 24. But as I mentioned a couple episodes ago, one of the things that I did to help us get those win totals, which was necessary really to keep my job. One of the goals was to finish winning a record and that kind of thing. But I was giving us really easy schedules, and that's great for your record, but it doesn't really help your net or prestige. Well, this last off season, I felt, this team depth-wise, we're really ready for a challenge. We've got a lot of 4-star potential and 4-star current ability players on this team, which we haven't really had, only rarely, really, in the 5 seasons now I've been with them. So, depth's good. We should be, we're coming off a season where we won our conference championship and made it to the NCAA Tournament. So, we need to test ourselves, play a tougher schedule. So I chose to go with a balanced schedule. And what that did is it gave us some, in some cases, ranked opponents. We played the 11th ranked Oklahoma State Cowboys on the road. But we also played some teams like Kansas State on the road who beat us really easily, and Maryland on the road who barely beat us 86-83. And my goal going in with that kind of schedule, Purdue on the road, Kansas State, Maryland, Miami on the road, ending up with probably a fairly competitive team on the road, before we close it out. My goal was 6 wins with the hope, that we would beat one of those teams that have the better prestige. And, we finished 8-3, so we beat my expectations, and we finished with a really strong road win against Miami. We played, the 2 other big teams that we lost to, Maryland and Oklahoma State. We lost by like 3 points each on those games. Well, Kansas State, I guess, is a pretty good team too. So I don't know why I was feeling, if it came across like that. And I remember, during the episode, I was kind of bummed that we didn't beat. I think I was bummed that we didn't beat one more of those big teams, but I got to tell you, that was a good showing. I can't feel too bad about that. It left us with a 30 net rank, and I think what I realized after just kind of sitting and thinking about it for a couple minutes after the episode is we just beat a team on the road that's better in quality than any team we're probably going to face in conference. So we got to take that I got to take that as a really good sign. And so now the struggle is, how do I keep myself from being overconfident? I want to be, I want to feel good about this season, but I don't really want to go in here thinking that we're going to do like Texas San Antonio did last year. They finished 17-1 in conference. We're not going to do that. But needless to say, I think if we do that with the schedule that we had, we may be looking at some national rankings here. We might show up in the polls. So that would be me getting overconfident, though. So I need to back away from that. So we're definitely looking better than we've looked at since I've been with this team. I hope we can keep it up. And I guess the long story short is it really was better than I thought after I had some time to think about it. I mean, 8-3 with that schedule is really good. And in terms of like where I'd like us to finish, to realistically kind of set myself back and not set myself up for failure, I think 12-6 would be a really good team, a good year again. We would get maybe a good first or second round matchup in the conference tournament. Might get another win or two. I don't know if that alone would get us into the NCAA, but it really would help. I think getting us to the NIT and with a pretty good seed. But we just got to play these games out, sim them out, and see how it goes. And now, like I say, I think the struggle is going to be overconfident. Like if we lose this first game, it's a whole different set of expectations. And we did. We lost the first game 62-53. So you're not going to know until you play these games out. A team that came in 1-10, and I think they were 0-5 at home, and we lose 2. But we struggled. Even last year, we struggled. I think with their early games. I think we lost the first game last year. You got Old Dominion beating Western Kentucky, so they struggled. But Texas San Antonio, a huge win over Texas El Paso. They're probably going to still be the team to beat, at least in the regular season. Now we won't know. That really hurts because the net's going to go down now. That's the thing about this game. I found that out a couple episodes ago when it comes to recruiting. Just when you think you got it figured out, you realize it's tougher than you think. Now we got Western Kentucky coming up at home, thankfully, but they've got to be feeling bad about that loss they just had. So they don't want to go 0-2 in conference. And I know at the end of the day, these are just computer generated numbers for the most part. So I don't know how much of that's really going in there, but I like to think that that's what's going on. So all right, let's get a win. We can't go 0-2. If we go 0-2, then that really and that's a big one, 74-53. That would really make me feel like all that setup that I had to start this episode, that would really make me feel like that opening non-conference schedule was a fluke, and I really didn't want to feel that way. I guess if you can't tell, those of you who've watched this playthrough for a while, I've never really felt confident because it is college basketball. For one thing, the sport, it's about upsets a lot of times. So you in general, you can't really get too overconfident, but man, it would just be nice to feel really good about this team one season. So we did get a win there, but like I say, our net went down. So all that hard work from the non-conference schedule, it's not going to mean anything now because I was hoping that we would have enough of a momentum going in when first few games of the conference schedule there might set us up. I mean, who knows? It could have set us up to get some national ranking, but at the very least, it would have put us high, maybe in the 20s on the net score, which I think is probably where you'll have to be to get an invite for the NCAA tournament. I noticed last year, Texas San Antonio, even though they lost to us in the conference tourney final, they got an invite, but they were up there high. They were in the 20s when it came to the net record, I'm pretty sure, or net rankings. So now we got Charlotte on the road. We got to do like what we did last year. We got to beat these kind of teams on the road now. and they are coming in 1-1. Western Kentucky finally gets a win. Texas San Antonio, I bet they're still undefeated, but this could be another loss. Nope, that's what we have to see. So a good 80-72, and I just realized I haven't even been looking at the box scores here like I usually do. Sorry about that. I think I got a little worried there with that first loss to Louisiana Tech. But so what we got, Brown. I've noticed his scoring has come down a little bit since in these first 3 games of the non-conference schedule. This guy has been really good, as good as I could hope. Having seen him play so well coming off the bench the last 2 seasons, I was really hoping he would do well. And I think he came from Texas San Antonio. I think I mentioned last episode he came from Texas El Paso, but no, he came from San Antonio, which makes me wonder if, as good as they've been the last couple seasons, I guess, I wonder if they had that kind of depth and he knew he had to get out of there, although he was the starter his first season. But if you didn't get a chance to see last episode, this guy had 37 points against NC Central earlier. Just a dominating performance. Highest point total I've ever seen anybody get. Certainly, I think in the 2 teams that I've gone with, UAB first and now Middle Tennessee. So team-wise, this is a close game. We beat him. It looks like we beat him at the free throw line. Turnovers, we're still playing a lot better than we were maybe a couple seasons ago in turnovers. And look, Dunkley's getting play off the bench. Looks like Brown got in foul trouble. His numbers, what is that? 18 minutes. They're not great, but he's got room to grow, I think. I mentioned he was a really good recruit. Came to the team highly rated. So I'm hoping that his ratings go back to that level. Johnson, just 10 points a game, 3.5 assists. He's not really playing like he did last year to start the season off. But turnovers are down, so I'm hoping that's a good sign. So that feels a little bit better getting that win. So now we got North Texas at home. They have been down, I think, a little bit the last seasons, or it feels that way anyway. I'd have to really go look at records, but when I started play, I guess with UAB, I think North Texas was one of the better programs. Looked like they had a good run coming into when I started playing with this team. But it's kind of, like basketball will. It's kind of been moving. I guess you have to say Middle Tennessee has become one of the top programs in the conference now, but definitely Texas San Antonio. Old Dominion's moved down a little bit. They're not to the level they used to be. So now both of us are 2-1 in conference. Texas San Antonio looks like they beat Louisiana Tech. They're still winning. Old Dominion, I know they've already beaten Western Kentucky, so they may be better than they have been. Rice had a good season last year. Oh, things are looking bad already. So a tough loss once again, this time to North Texas. So I think, that's why I started the episode with that long-winded kind of thing, because you cannot get comfortable with this game. I haven't found it out anyway. Some of you guys, I know I've had some of the viewers kind of tell me how their seasons have gone. I don't know if, unless you just have this, you take over a big program already and you get the kind of recruits you're supposed to get, it's just hard to be dominant in this game. Now, North Texas looks like they had a great game shooting-wise, though. And man, we're getting into some foul trouble, looks like. Johnson, Wilcox, Dunkley even. That probably hurt us more than anything. Just a 5-point loss. I mean, we definitely lost a lot of points at the free throw line. They shot better, though. They just, they outplayed us. Hansen, had a lot of points in this game, and for a shooting guard rated 3 with 4 potential, guy who came from Arkansas, he has not scored a whole lot, especially this year. He's off to a slow start, but this was a tough loss for us. It really was. I mean, we've got to be able to win against this kind of team at home. And we got a post-game incident report. I mean, Chris Murdoch, I don't know if this guy is worth worth placating over the Hansen for sure. Murdoch's just a freshman. He's not friendly. I feel like I need to really call this guy up and say, hey, you gotta you gotta lay off the bad. Okay, so at least he says he's gonna try harder. But for the most part, I know I have a few guys here who are rated as disruptive, but I've been pretty lucky. So, oh gosh, tough stretch coming up. I mean, at Marshall, they can be a tough program, a tough team to face, and then at Western Kentucky on the road. I'm getting worried here because I feel like I really don't want to lose the ground that we've gained having gone to the tournament last year. So it would really be nice to make that tournament again. Now, I'm not so sure. I'm just feeling really bad about this. And I haven't checked the rankings in a while. We'll take a look at that shortly. So we beat them 89-79. We needed that win for sure. I didn't see Johnson up here again. Take a look at the box score, but it's weird to me that he's not showing up in the leading scorers too often. He had a poor shooting performance here. He did have 5 assists and a +10, but his points are way down. Early in the season, you see how he started, 21, 17, 21, and 21 against Purdue, but he has not had 20 or more points in a long time. He had a streak here of 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 games where he didn't even get double digits in points. That's really unusual. He's not getting as many minutes, but that's worrying too. So we're something's off about our game right now. I'm hoping just with more play that'll pick up. Wilcox, his first time starting a sophomore, a highly rated player now. He's given us some rebounds. I think scoring is not going to be his strong point, but how about Vining off the bench, 15 points? Yeah, I think he's got a chance as a sophomore to get maybe 1 year as a starter here. Let's see how Muhammad's doing. He wants to play, but he's probably 2 years unless, Johnson declares early. But, Johnson's not going to be declaring early with that kind of year he's having. So looking at the team, close game in some ways, but we had a few more three-pointers than they did. Got a few more rebounds, a few less turnovers. Pretty sloppy game. 24 turnovers for them, 21 for us. Fouls were about even. They had one guy fouled out. I mean, just, we're not playing like we played in the start of the season. I mean, that was a road win for what it's worth. But we may take a look at the net again here in a second. But that's not going to give you much, that road win. I think it would still be probably quadrant 4 considering Marshall's record, which net's new to me. This is kind of my first go at really trying to understand it. But it looks, the way they've broken it down in this game is cool. You know, I like having those grids in front of you and everything. But it seems to be a little tricky to figure out too on the formulas a little bit. Maybe that's as designed. So we got Florida International. They're coming up. They may be a tough matchup for us. Texas San Antonio still winning. Old Dominion, they may be back. This may be a season where they return back to normal. Good win here against usually a pretty competitive UTEP team, so 86-71. We're back up to 12-5. I think it's, you know, it's at least you got to say it's a big change from where we were, 3-4 seasons ago, where just getting the 12 wins was a struggle. But I think that was the 21st. And I still got to figure out what's causing this. It's really weird. Hopefully I didn't just lose it. No. It's in there. It is something I'm pretty sure to do with Windows 10, how it reads, you know, whatever languages is coded in, I guess. But occasionally the menus go away. If you have that problem, you can try running the game in compatibility mode, and I may just finally have to do that. But I've found that it'll eventually come back. So looking at this game here, you know, turnovers, we're doing much better at that. And maybe that's Johnson maybe has been focusing on that this year. He had no turnovers this game. So just 9 turnovers, just 13 fouls. So we, you know, it was fairly even matchup, but we got more shooting attempts. We shot 50%. You know, that was a big thing there. Individually, I like what I'm seeing here from Baxter, although he had 5 turnovers. He's another small forward who's rated highly defensively. He's an all-around good player. He's just not going to score a lot of points. So to see him get that many points is pretty cool. And then Johnson finally in double digits. Hanson, another good game from him. Brown has definitely come off his pace. Off the bench, it was solid play, and I say that because of all these plus-minus, numbers here in efficiency. So the team looked good when these guys were out there. They just didn't put up a lot of points. Dunkley had 5 assists, which I'm hoping that's a good sign. I hope that means that he's improving his passing a little bit, because we really need that with Princeton offense. So that finishes up this week. I'm going to look at the emails. A couple things I want to check before we get back to playing. So Old Dominion, we're still rated to beat them, but they are 6-0 in the conference. You know, things are getting tougher. So you got Florida Atlantic, Old Dominion, Texas San Antonio, top of the conference. We still have the best net, but we're all the way down to 47 now. Record-wise, you know, Texas San Antonio once again has the best record, but I'm guessing they had a pretty pushover schedule. Yeah, for the most part. I mean, Oregon State on the road, which they lost. That's a relatively tough matchup. Princeton, they beat on the road. Toledo, they lost. I mean, they lost to the teams that you would think they were going to lose to. Definitely not the schedule that we had. But Old Dominion, man, they're a good program. Now, my guess is they had a tough non-conference schedule. Oklahoma on the road. Virginia Commonwealth on the road. Stanford at home, which they won. Our schedule was better, tougher than theirs. I mean, they did have a tougher schedule than Texas San Antonio, but we had the tougher schedule for sure. Louisiana Tech. We're going to have to. We are so far their only win in the conference. That was really the worst loss of the season. You can't lose to those guys. I'd like to think it was a wake up call, but now I'm not so sure. So I'm going to keep playing out. Maybe we'll look at the rankings. See what we're at. 4-2. I want to get 3 more games in to get us halfway through before we get to the end of the episode. So Western Kentucky on the road, they're 9-8 in conference. You know, if we can handle them, that would be really good. If we can't, it's still fairly early, but you know we may see the conference in terms of being able to win the conference title, the regular season title. That might be slipping away from us. So we got Florida Atlantic, Texas San Antonio lost, Old Dominion finally loses. Oh, man, what a heartbreaker. 83-82. Keith Brown, 23 points. We're missing Johnson here. I think that's what's really hurting us. Dang, that's terrible. So, what, you know, I'm just going to go back to how I opened this episode. You never know. You never know. I guess if you're like a program where you've got 5-star recruits up and down the line, you know, maybe then you can feel like, hey, you know, we're going to win every game. But I never feel, even against the weak opponents, I never feel like we're going to win them all, especially on the road. They, you know, the numbers tell me that it should have been closer. And I'm trying to find out where they really beat us. It looks like, you know, we out-rebounded them. Turnovers were probably, I don't know if those 3 turnovers were a big enough difference. They did shoot better than we did with about the same amount of attempts. So, you know, that was the difference, I think. And it's just a small difference, 1-point difference. But, man, that's a heartbreaker. And then Johnson, 2 for 10. I mean, am I gonna have to tell him to quit shooting for threes? Maybe his field goal percentage 40%. His three, yes, 28. I think I'm just gonna tell him. You know, you need to shoot more mid-range jumpers. For 3 weeks. Dang it. You know, he's not going to listen. And it's probably from being a guy who's been around a long time. But in terms of play, I mean, this is so close. Wilcox had a double-double. First time he's ever done that, so that's good to see. You know, but this is hurting us. You know, Johnson is really hurting us. And that for sure could have been the difference in this game, shooting like that. So now we're back to where we were a few seasons ago, I think. You know, we're probably going to finish the regular season middle of the pack, you know, maybe top 6 teams. That's really disappointing with that kind of non-conference play that we had. I mean, I don't know, other than, you know, Johnson being, his scoring being down so much, I don't know where else it's coming from. And we're playing in Florida International. We're playing what looks to be one of the better teams in the conference this year. This will be a good win if we get it, because, you know, at home they're 5-2 now, so they may have hit a rough patch. All right, close, 74-70. We're not dominating, and once again, you know, no Johnson. I feel like something's just off about him this year. Maybe we're going to have, maybe he'll get better in the second half. And we got lucky on this one. They just really played poorly. 21 of 54, less than 40% shooting. Or, I know you could say, hey, we played well defensively. But we out-rebounded them a little bit. Close in turnovers. We had more fouls. So it comes down to they had a poor shooting performance, and it hurt them. Brown was the player of the game. Just he was the only starter in double digits in points, and he didn't play but 18 minutes. Dunkley off the bench is getting a lot of play time. 18 minutes right now. As long as he's playing well, and he had 7 rebounds in this game, not too bad. Walker looks to be getting some points too, or some minutes. 15. Muhammad Vining, he won't solid minutes, but now Desmond, I don't know what to do about Desmond because he just doesn't have the current ratings to justify playing him, and he's a 3.5-star potential. He was he's not a walk-on. He's one of my recruits. He's just not good enough. So let's check the we got Rice, Alabama, Birmingham. Man, Tennessee has a couple players on here. Stands out to me right off the bat. San Diego State. That's another thing I would like to see. I would like to see us have some see somebody show up on those Norton candidates. So it's looking a little bit better. We're tied with a lot of teams here, though. 5 teams with a 5-3 record. Old Dominion 6-2. Like I say, they've turned their season around, or really program, I should say, because Old Dominion for the last 2 seasons have been really bad. You can see 8-21, 6-23. They may have a new coach. I wonder if he's still the same coach. No, he's still there. I'm not so sure, from what I know of basketball, current basketball, I'm not so sure if you could just maybe claim Old Dominion as the best program out of this conference, but they're certainly one of the tops, I would think. All right, so one more game left. This is it's actually running a little bit longer than I thought it would here for this episode. We got Louisiana Tech. This is one, of course, we definitely need. It's still embarrassing to me that we lost to them. They're 2-17. If we could take that one back, we'd be 6-2, tied with Old Dominion for second. I think I go back to what I said too at the start. Having to reset my expectations, not getting overconfident. 12-6 in conference is going to be tough to get now, just based on the way we're playing. And it's got to be Johnson. To me, it's got to be that guy's got to pick it up and start playing like he did the last 2 seasons. This would be beyond ridiculous. Oh, and Old Dominion took a loss. This would be terrible if we lost this game. 83-50, so that was payback. And Johnson, double digits, but I'm just really freaked out a little bit about why he's not scoring. Could be the triangle. Maybe he was getting more opportunities when we had more of a flex offense going, but that'll finish, the first half 6-3. We've been there before, I think, within the last few seasons. But this one, I mean, it should have been a dominating performance. It kind of was. I mean, we out-rebounded them. Turnovers were way in our favor. And we shot over 50%, which is a lot better than they did. And Johnson did have a good game in terms of shooting. Man, he's off. His game is really off. Now, in terms of the turnovers, though, they're way better. And if we win, I'm not going to be too concerned. But look at the field goal percentage. It's down almost 40%, or 0.4. I don't know what the percentage is, but it's down 0.4 percent since his freshman year. Free throws, he's 100%, but he's not getting to the line, looks like a whole lot. His three-pointers are about where they usually are. So I guess that didn't really make a whole lot of difference. Just need efficiency's down. I mean, there's something that's definitely changed about this guy. Minutes are down from last year, but his profile is very good. I mean, he's happy. But he did get double digits. And Brown, he's staying, he's about 13 points a game. Hansen, I think we're probably, at this point, going to have to say we're not going to have any, might have some guys who show up second conference, however you say it. But I thought that we might even have a chance of one of these guys getting player of the year in the conference. I don't see that happening now. I don't think we're having anybody with that kind of performance off this team. But let's take a look at a couple standings here before we end the episode. We got Florida Atlantic leading the way, but we're just a game back, and we really got a tough one coming up against Old Dominion at Old Dominion. They're 7-2 at home. We are 7-5 on the road, which is really good. One of the best road records in the conference. I guess Texas San Antonio looks good, but they haven't played the competition that we have. We're still looking good with that net, holding there steady at 44. If I look at the polls and media, I mean, we're ranked ahead of some pretty good teams here. Gonzaga, Purdue. Purdue they are ranked right now, so that probably helped us with that win. That may be what, and I'll check that right now. One of the questions I've had about the net, is it a fluid thing, or is it just like when you beat the team, is it just about how they were when you beat them? Really wish I didn't have to do that sometimes. Man. There we go. Team sheet. Yeah, so that moved up into the first quadrant. Before that was, I think, either quadrant 2 or quadrant 3, which surprised me. I was like, wow. But yeah, we have 2 away wins that are now in the quadrant 1. So that's really great. And even that Charlotte win is quadrant 2. The Western Kentucky would have helped winning there. I think that would have helped our net. The Louisiana Tech, though, man, that just really, really stunk. We should have no losses in this quadrant at this point, I think, with the level of talent on this team. Quadrant 3, if we hold steady and don't get another loss from this quadrant, that'd be good. But I'm probably thinking we're gonna struggle to stay with just 2 losses. But it's cool that Purdue's now a higher win for us. Looking back at the polls and media, I don't see Miami on there, but we are still, ranked higher than some good teams there. Miami's down here. They're just 10-9 this year, but you're playing in the ACC. In terms of teams, though, to look at, Villanova's having a great season. Kentucky, Tennessee, looks like they're doing good. West Virginia, St. Mary's, Florida. I really like to see that Purdue made it up there. It'd be nice if Miami started winning and finished higher. But the bubble watch, so I'm guessing, yeah. Just this is like it was either last year or 2 years ago. I can't remember. We were pretty much right there, and that's what I say when I mean, building that net up with the better competition. That's what it did for us. I mean, it got us to where we're really close to being able to get an invite, and which to me is a better statement than having to win the conference. So I guess, if we have a good second half, it's possible, we could hold on to it and be a bubble team. But look at the schedule. We're going to have Rice at home, Old Dominion, though. That's the tough one. Old Dominion on the road. Texas San Antonio at home. That would be nice if we could beat them. North Texas, they're going to be tough. They're having a good year now in conference, 6-3. So we need to finish really 6-3, I think, to have a successful season, get that 20-win mark. So if we can somehow manage to win all our home games, which at this point is just 4, so we've got an upside down schedule going down the stretch, 5 on the road, 4 at home. We need to win all our home games, and we got to beat, maybe Alabama, Birmingham, maybe Southern Miss. I think we're going to struggle. I think 12 wins, it might not happen in conference this year. Which, for what it's worth, I mean, at least that means, the conference is getting more competitive. Maybe they're, getting back up there with us in Texas San Antonio, which is good in the long run if you're winning. But if you're losing, I would really hate to see us take a step back from where we've been the last 2 seasons. But we'll find that out next episode. As always, I appreciate you guys watching, supporting the channel. Look for some out-of-the-park playthroughs coming up pretty soon. And try to finish this one out next time with a good run. Man, it's like it's tearing my hair out right now. But thanks for watching. We'll see you next episode.